Hi guys, thanks for checking out Manning Up. Today we're going to be talking about some anti-male kind of rhetoric coming through media, sometimes through education systems. In general, for those of you who checked out my last couple of posts, I try and avoid worrying about what other people are saying about men and focus more on what we can do to change that message. But I think a lot of times what we're hearing today makes it very hard for men to overcome those issues, and especially for young men that are growing and developing in a system where they're consistently hearing through media, whether it be through the news, through movies, TV shows, even through the education system, when they're regularly told that their gender is the cause of all the world's problems, and that so much of what who they are as men is wrong, then it makes it very hard to develop your identity as a man and grow a healthy confidence in who you are and be able to become the man that you need to be so that you can make those changes and make the world a better place. And if we're constantly putting these men down, then it makes it very difficult for them to rise up to the point where they need to be, where they can actually be a positive force in the world. So some of these buzz phrases are all going to be ones that you've probably heard before. Stuff that's been gets said a lot lately. One of the most common ones we've heard recently would be toxic masculinity, obviously. Mentioned in my last post a little bit, so we see this, especially coming in with the Me Too movement, that we see toxic masculinity has been thrown around a lot as a buzz phrase lately. Not saying, again, anything that anytime a man or a woman uses their power or authority to victimize another person, that is wrong. This is not to excuse any individual person's behavior, but what I'm trying to get at is that associating it with an entire gender is counterproductive. It's not helping us reach any kind of point of resolving any of these issues. It's simply creating a generation of men that don't know who they are because they're constantly told that who they are is wrong. And if they don't know who they are, then they aren't going to be able to establish identity where they can move past these issues that we see with so many men today. So when the phrase toxic masculinity was originally designed, it was made as the idea that there was a set of kind of societal expectations on men of what they needed to be, and some of these were toxic to who they to being a healthy person. So this phrase was originally designed to be a way to help men identify what society is expected of them that could be dangerous to their health and help them make the changes to do that. But then this phrase that was originally intended to help men has since become very opposite, used to attack and belittle men. There's some of these societal expectations that were originally referred to were like being closed off emotionally, which I can agree is a toxic behavior that was, especially historically, has been associated with masculinity and is not healthy. Things like senseless aggression, again, something that's been associated with masculinity traditionally through society, but is not a healthy behavior. And so these, finding ways to address these behaviors and recognizing that it's not part of masculinity is good. But when we start using the phrase to simply attack any behavior of a man that we don't like, and associating the actions of some with an entire gender, it is in defining masculinity within that sense of associating some bad behaviors with an entire gender is not helpful, and it's only putting us back into a negative spot. Another buzz phrase we've probably heard a lot recently is future is female. It's quite obvious where the issues would lie in this one. When we're eliminating an entire gender from the future, then it limits what these men feel they can achieve. If they're constantly getting told the future is female, then what place do we have for the males in our society? So I think it's important we recognize that, understanding where a lot of these women are coming from, that when you feel like most of history has been male dominated, then trying to claim the future for yourself is not unreasonable, but it's also not helpful. And the only way that we're going to make a better world going forward is if we have men and women working together and building a better society together, and recognizing the future is not belong to one specific gender, but it's something that we can build together and build the kind of future that we want to see, where men and women can work together to find success. Another one of those buzzwords that we hear a lot is be like dismantling or tearing down the patriarchy. Probably most of you know, patriarchy essentially refers to like a societal system in place that favors men, especially in reaching positions of like power and influence. I'm not here to debate whether or not that's a thing, or that, what role that plays in today's society in terms of women achieving success. But I think what is important to remember is the issues that that can arise from using this terminology. First of all, that we don't need to tear other people down in order to build ourselves up. So we can, I think too often when people are using that phrase, it simply means, kind of attacking whatever male authority figure is closest, and there isn't a real idea of how to approach rebuilding a new system where men and women can both achieve success. And then secondly, I think one of the big issues that comes from that is it minimizes the achievements of men, when a hardworking man can kind of earn his own way through life, and then there's this kind of idea that it's only because he's a man that everything was favoring him, and that's the only reason he was able to achieve what he did. And then conversely, if a man doesn't have those achievements, then it's even more minimizing to who he is, to what he has done, or who he is, because if he couldn't achieve greatness when everything was in his favor, then obviously it can be very negative to his self-esteem if he's being told that everything was stacked in his favor and he still couldn't find success. So I think going forward, what we need to realize is that number one, men and women are different, and that's not wrong. That's not a problem. And recognizing that, it's not as the most popular thing that would kind of eliminate the difference between men and women, but those differences are important. They make us unique, and when we work together, then we can build a better society because of those differences, as long as both sides are willing to recognize the importance of each other. And men need to recognize that women have an important role to play in building a better society, and women need to recognize that men also have an important role. And just because men have not always done the best job in the past when we've had the positions of power, doesn't mean that we can completely eliminate men from those areas. That men have many contributions to make too. We need to remember that we can't belittle either gender for their accomplishments, and we need to recognize that men and women both have individual successes, failures, and different advantages and disadvantages in achieving those things. And belittling that or minimizing what they're doing is not helping anyone, and is certainly not helping us reach a better point in our society. So we, like I said, need to remember that the only way we're going to actually make this world a better place is if we can work together as men and women, celebrating our differences and recognizing how important they are in making the world a better place, and finding ways that we can both achieve success and both achieve what we want to see in the world. And the only way we're going to actually be able to truly do that is if we can work together and just kind of put aside the differences that have held us apart before, and recognize the only way that any of us really succeeds is if we all support each other and succeed together. So thanks for checking us out today. Again, if you want to follow us more, you can check out our pages on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to support what we're doing financially, check out our page on Patreon. In the next couple weeks here, like I said, we're going to be having some merch set up there, so you'll have options for supporting us and receive some cool t-shirts or hats or that kind of thing in exchange for that. For right now, there's some other options for supporting us, so go ahead and check that out. And next week we'll be back with another post, so hope to see you back then. Bye.